So when we talk about Wing Chun Kung Fu, most people picture the fast hands, right? The close-in stuff.
Exactly. That's definitely what you see. But there's this other layer, almost hidden, the internal energy, the qigong.
Which is what we're digging into today, this
Yeah.
secretive foundation.
Precisely. And our main source is Scott Baker's book, Qigong Development and Practical Applications in Wing Chun Kung Fu. It's got a foreword by Earl Montague, who's, well, a big name in internal arts.
Right, Montague. He really praises Baker for trying to connect the physical moves we see with the internal stuff, Qigong, and even Dim Mak, which we'll get into.
Yeah, and Baker really goes for it with Dim Mak, looking at the acupuncture points and how they work, which isn't always covered in, such detail. Montague really appreciated that depth.
So the idea is we want to unpack this sort of mystical side for everyone listening, show how these internal energy skills really boost the whole system.
Absolutely. It's like Wing Chun works great just with the techniques. You can see that. But this internal aspect, this Qigong, it unlocks. Baker even calls it a magical quality, its true potential.
Like with Aikido's founder, Sensei Uyeshiba. You can learn the moves, but then you see him and it's like, whoa,
Yeah.
there's that key energy thing happening. Different level of power.
That's a perfect comparison, that deep energy connection. And Wing Chun, it seems, has that hidden depth, too.
And it's important to remember it's Kung Fu, right?
Yeah.
In both senses, the martial art and literally skill through persistent effort.
Exactly. Persistent effort over time. This internal work definitely fits that description. It takes real dedication.
Okay, so let's dive into this internal energy. Baker breaks it down into two main types, hard and soft Qigong. What's the difference there?
Well, they're quite distinct approaches. Hard Qigong often uses physical tension. You see it in breaking demonstrations, bricks, boards, that kind of thing. It focuses energy intensely.
Right, like really channeling force. And he mentions iron shirt, too. That sounds pretty hardcore.
Oh, it is. That's a much tougher skill. It takes years of specific training to direct and sort of lock qi into the body, making it resistant to blows. Think of it like internal armor. At the highest levels, they say, practitioners can withstand sharp blades. Huge mental focus involved.
Wow. Okay, so that's hard Qigong tension, resilience. What about the soft side?
Soft Qigong is all about relaxation. It's where you see maybe smaller or seemingly weaker people effortlessly moving much larger opponents. Baker mentions Ueshiba again and Tai Chi masters. It looks almost effortless.
And Wing Chun leans more towards this soft approach.
That's what Baker argues, yes. And it shows up right from the start of the training, apparently.
How so? With the first form, Sil Nim Tao.
Exactly. Baker points out that Sil Nim Tao is fundamental for soft internal Qi development. Think about how it's done.
It's slow, very deliberate, and you stay in one spot, right? No stepping around.
Precisely. That slow, relaxed motion and the stationary posture, those are key elements in traditional Qi development. It helps you learn to sink, to feel your connection to the ground, to yield to gravity. That's the beginning of developing root.
Root, okay, we'll circle back to that. So Sil Nim Tao isn't just learning moves, it's an energy exercise.
Yeah.
He mentions it can take, what, an hour?
Up to an hour, yeah. Which definitely tells you there's more going on internally. It makes sense. Being still and relaxed lets you focus inward. And Baker also notes that even a basic Wing Chun move, like the Sun Punch, takes months to develop real power.
Months for a basic punch? That doesn't sound very basic.
That's his point. He says it's a sign of an advanced skill. Easy to learn superficially, maybe, but hard to master the internal power generation. So he concludes Wing Chun doesn't really have basic techniques, not in the way other arts might, and that definitely applies to the energy skills.
Okay, so this rote, it sounds absolutely crucial for this internal side. What is it exactly? How do you build it?
Think of it like having deep tree roots anchoring you to the earth. It provides stability, allows you to absorb force, and generate power from the ground up. Baker describes some really interesting tests for it.
Like the kneeling push test, where the teacher pushes the kneeling student.
Yeah. The student kneels, hands under the teacher's elbows. If the student is rooted correctly and the key is relaxation, not leaning back, they shouldn't budge. Even with multiple people pushing, it shows it's not brute strength, but how relaxation connects you.
That's wild. What else? He mentioned pulling legs.
The leg pull test, yeah. From a specific stance, several people try to pull the student's legs apart for maybe a minute, tests that grounded connection.
And the immovable stance, pushing on the wrists.
Right. In a forward stance, student braces their arms, teacher pushes the wrists. Good root keeps the stance solid, even if the arms give a little. And then there's the unliftable stance.
Ah, yes, the wide horse stance, arms hanging, and two people try to lift the person.
Exactly. A skilled person sinks their root deeper, and supposedly the lifters actually lose their strength. They can't lift. It's all about that internal connection and stability.
So how do you develop this root? It sounds mental as much as physical.
Baker says relaxation is key. It opens up an energy space that draws the root down. Imagery is important, visualizing that connection, using the intuitive side of the brain, imagining waves of relaxation flowing up from the ground. He mentions various standing postures, practicing attending, feeling the sensations, and intending, directing the energy flow simultaneously.
Attending and intending. So paying attention while directing energy makes sense. And breathing must play a big part in all this.
Absolutely. You can't separate breath from internal energy or mental state. Baker brings in principles from the 8 Pieces of Brocade, those moving breathing exercises.
What's the main idea with the breathing?
It should be natural, comfortable, deep abdominal breathing, like a sleeping baby. No forcing it, no filling the lungs completely or emptying them totally. That creates tension. Just smooth, deep, maybe even slightly audible breathing.
He also talks about dissolving meditation for releasing tension and opening energy gates. What are these gates?
Baker describes them as points or areas throughout the body: head, spine, joints, organs, down to the root. The meditation involves focusing attention and intention on each gate, visualizing tension melting away, like ice to water to steam.
And you might feel shaking?
Yeah, shaking or vibrations can happen as blocked energy releases. That's usually okay, even good, but if it gets jerky, it means there's still too much tension and you need to relax deeper. He suggests starting with the 5 yin organs: lungs, heart, liver, kidneys, spleen.
And bone marrow washing. Sounds intense.
It's another visualization technique. You imagine creating a void inside the bones and then drawing light or energy into the marrow as you inhale, holding the focus as you exhale. It's about directing Qigong really deep into the body structure using the mind.
Okay, so bringing this back to Sil Nim Tao. We said it's an advanced Qigong exercise. How does this dissolving and energy direction work in the actual movements?
Baker gets quite detailed. Take the opening movement. The fist slowly opens from the chamber. There's a slight tension in the palm, thumb in, little finger up to focus chi there.
Right. And at the same time, you're sinking the root.
Exactly, creating that downward pull, that vacuum.
Yeah.
As the hand opens, you attend to the chi building in the palm, intending it to grow like a ball of light.
Okay, so rooting down while building energy in the hand. What about Tan Sao, Wu Sao, Fuk Sao?
With Tan Sao, the focus extends to the elbow. You relax it deeply, intend it to feel heavy, like water pooling there. Then you slowly move the arm forward, feeling like you're pushing with that energy weight.
And Wu Sao, moving back.
Same slow speed. Now you draw energy from that ball in the palm, through the fingers, focus on the flow back to the elbow, feel the energy accumulating there, all while maintaining the root. Baker mentions intending vibration up the spine and even drawing energy from the elbow down to the dantian, the energy center, and then to the root in advanced practice.
Fuk Sao seems like a big one for energy, too.
Definitely. As you turn the hand down for Fuk Sao, you sink slightly in your stance. This compresses the root, strengthening the upward yang qi flow. Focus shifts to drawing earth energy up the legs, through the dantian, up the front conception vessel, to the solar plexus, then out into the Fuk Sao hand and elbow. Visualize light streaming from chest to palm.
Wow. There's a lot going on there. He mentioned drawing energy up the arm bone, too.
Yeah, from the elbow up to the shoulder and neck by dissolving those gates. And even more complex flows, drawing root energy into the hips, pooling in the dantian, splitting it to the solar plexus and down the spine, governing vessel, to meet the elbow energy at the neck, washing over the brain. He even mentions a gentle sphincter contraction to help direct the chi flow upwards.
That is incredibly detailed. And the vibration gets stronger during Fuk Sao.
Yes, and relaxation and posture are key to controlling it. Start with shorter sessions, he advises. Focus on relaxing if you feel tense. Even if the posture isn't perfect initially, the feeling afterwards should be peaceful, energized, but calm. You might feel sore at first, but that goes away.
So after developing this internal awareness and energy flow through forms, how does it apply when you actually touch someone, like in Chi Sao, sticky hands?
Baker really emphasizes that Chi Sao isn't fighting or sparring, it's learning connection, the language of motion. He uses that great analogy.
The language learning one. Techniques are words, principles are grammar.
And Chi Sao is the conversation. Exactly. You need the words, techniques first. Then Chi Sao teaches the grammar, principles like centerline, alignment, transitions. Practice needs to be slow initially, like a careful conversation, to really get the principles. Avoid competition early on. Deeper Chi Sao uses Chi to connect, read, and control.
So the sticking isn't just physical, it's energetic.
Right. The physical contact is just the start. The real stickiness comes from the energy connection. Baker even notes the Chinese character for qi implies this. Single sticky hand, qi dancao, is where you start developing this sensitivity, learning to direct qi and read your partner's intent through subtle feelings.
And then he outlines those 12 progressive stages of being interaction.
Huh?
That sounds like the roadmap.
It really is. He groups them in fours. The first three are foundational: positioning, correct technique, alignment; balancing, maintaining integrity and connection; and sticking, melting into the partner like pressure, mirroring.
Okay, positioning, balancing, sticking. That's the base connection. What's next?
The second set: springing, waiting, and KU, controlling the bridge. Springing is reacting to pressure changes appropriately along your center line. Waiting is adding relaxed intent, chi, to the connection without losing balance, using key points in the limbs. KU is about sensing the opponent's gates, their openings or vulnerabilities by feeling their energy.
Sensing gates.
Ah.
Like feeling weak spots in their structure or energy.
Kind of, yeah. Feeling changes in their intent and energy flow. Then the third set: listening, extending, and following. Listening here means truly experiencing the partner's present moment without your ego interfering a mushin or no mind state. First listen to yourself, then the partner.
Mushin, no mind. How does not thinking help in Chi Sao?
It allows you to react intuitively and instantly based on feeling, rather than getting caught up in conscious analysis. Extending is reaching out with that feeling attention. Following is yielding smoothly to their force, maintaining connection without resisting.
And the final three stages.
Joining, leading, and controlling. Joining is totally merging with their energy and intention, suspending your own goal-oriented thoughts. Leading isn't forcing, it's your rooted energy flow naturally enticing their chi to follow yours, again needing that mushin state. Controlling is the ultimate result of all the preceding stages: following, joining, leading, plus reading their energy, giving you complete influence.
That's an amazing progression from physical contact to pure energetic control. It really shows Chi Sao is way more than just rolling arms around. Requires patience and that meditative state, Mushin.
Absolutely. Baker stresses that. Once you're consistent in single Chi Sao, you move to double, starting slow. Real Chi Sao is free-flowing, not just patterns, though patterns help initially, like practice sentences. Slow practice removes ego and competition, letting conversational skills grow. Speed comes later. He makes a clear distinction. Practice is for learning. Fighting is performing what you've learned.
So Chi Sao teaches that conversational motion.
Yeah.
You can tell real skill quickly.
Within seconds, he says. You feel if someone understands the principles: motion, alignment, connectivity, power, or if they're just mimicking. Correct responses follow principles. Incorrect ones break them and create openings.
Okay, so forms, Chi Sao, then the advanced stuff. Wooden dummy, long pole, butterfly swords. The end game.
Pretty much the final phases for a disciple, yeah.
Yeah.
And Baker links them directly to advanced Qigong. It might seem odd that hitting a wooden post or swing weapons develops internal energy, but it does. They teach advanced applications and how to project Qi through an object or into a target.
But you need the foundation first, right?
Yeah.
Rooting, energy release, coordination.
Definitely. Solid rooting from Sil Nim Tao, fluid movement from Chum Kyu and Bu Te, mental focus, striking with Qi, shirt punch, palm strikes. You need all that before tackling the dummy or weapons meaningfully.
Let's talk dummy. Most see it as just hitting practice, conditioning.
Baker says it's way more. 4 phases: conditioning, developing power structure, learning to place energy into the dummy, and finally performing the set with living energy. And then he connects it profoundly to dim mak.
Dim mak. Pressure point striking. Okay, this sounds complex. We don't need every single point. But how does the dummy relate?
The dummy provides a safe way to practice the exact angles and directions needed to activate meridian points, those energy pathways. Striking these points correctly can disrupt the chi flow. Baker lays out 7 dim mak principles found in the dummy form. First, every motion is an attack. Even blocks can be subtle point strikes.
So a pack cell isn't just a block.
It can be a strike to points on the arm. Yeah. Second principle, correct angle and direction. You don't need pinpoint accuracy like acupuncture, maybe thumbnail-sized areas, but angle and direction matter for activation. He refers to meridian charts.
Okay, so angle matters.
What else?
Third, attack along a single meridian. Baker says this is effective for serious disruption. He points to the 5th dummy set attacking the gallbladder meridian. Fourth, using yin and yang relationships, attacking paired meridians like kidney bladder. Fifth, the 24-hour energy cycle. Hitting a meridian when its chi flow is strongest, its active 2-hour window, magnifies the effect. You can use the body's own clock against it, timing the attack to the body's energy flow. Fascinating, the last two principles.
Sixth, attacking the special points, intersection points, points linked to organs, etc. He gives an example from the first set using wrist points, heart meridian, and a back point, bladder 15 for knockout. Seventh, utilizing Fa Jing, that explosive energy release. Baker says this is what drives the point activation, injecting adverse chi. More skill means a less physical motion needed, like the inch punch.
So the Feijing energy release is key to making the dim mak actually work. It's not just tapping the right spot.
It seems to be the combination, the right spot, right angle, and the correct energy projection, Feijing, to disrupt the meridian's flow. He then gives examples in the dummy sequences. First sequence involves points near the jaw and back of the head. Second sequence hits points like pericardium 6 on the arm, heart 1 in the armpit. Some sound really dangerous.
Yeah, heart 1 sounds bad. He does warn about practicing this stuff, right?
Strongly. He emphasizes dim mak practice on others is extremely dangerous without expert supervision due to cumulative effects. And it doesn't replace basic Wing Chun skills, it enhances them. You need good technique to apply dim mak. He also notes how the dummy uses the opponent's arms to set up meridian attacks, and that some moves represent attacks to the back.
Okay, after the dummy, there's the long pole and butterfly swords. More Qigong.
Yes. The long pole heavy, 8 to 9 feet long, teaches you to project energy through its length, to feel with it. The butterfly swords are the final stage. Skilled users can supposedly generate a vibrating energy in the blades, making cuts incredibly effective with little apparent effort. Potentially slice through a limb, he suggests?
So dim mak isn't just hand techniques, it's woven throughout, even into weapons.
Baker argues yes. It's hidden in the forms, profoundly in the dummy. Understanding the forms reviews the applications. Practice involves medium strikes, but again, caution is paramount. It enhances, doesn't replace basics. You need the core skills.
Okay, so wrapping this up, Wing Chun clearly has this deep, powerful internal energy system, Qigong, running underneath the physical techniques.
Absolutely. We've touched on hard versus soft Qigong, developing root, breathing, dissolving meditation, bone marrow washing, and how it all manifests in forms like Sil Nim Tao, in Chi Sao, the dummy, weapons, and dim mak.
And the key takeaway seems to be that you have to experience Qi to understand it. A guide helps, but anyone can start exploring with an open mind.
That's the essence of it. Some ideas might seem strange, but Baker encourages keeping an open mind about energy. Hopefully, for those familiar with Qigong, this added some depth.
It definitely leaves you thinking about that undeniable power of Qi-infused strikes. Like that anecdote about the police officer getting knocked back by a seemingly light palm strike. It makes you reconsider what's possible, the hidden dimensions.
Indeed, it's a reminder that what you see isn't always the whole story. Maybe it makes you wonder, how does subtle intention affect things in your life, even outside of fighting, something to ponder?